going on, everybody? It's Josh here from Dark Horse Tackle. Happy March. You know what time it is. If you're on our YouTube channel and you're watching this video right now, it's time for the March unboxing. But real quick, I would love for you all watching, whether you're subscribed, you're not subscribed, you just stumbled upon our YouTube channel, please give us a like, please subscribe to our channel, and also sound off in the comments. What more do you want to see from Dark Horse Tackle on the YouTube? But let's get into this box. It's a huge, awesome, sweet box, right? Lots of value in this box for this month. Lots of techniques, crashing, booming, power fishing, finesse, flipping, pitching. All kinds of techniques in this March box with only 6 baits. So stay tuned and let's get into this right now. So first things first, when you open the box, you've got 2 things that are not fishing baits. You've got a Crescent Kayak sticker, and we'll get to that here in a minute. But then you have this beautiful, brand new pamphlet design from the master himself, Zach. This guy is just a Photoshop genius, right? Super creative, does a great job. And look at this, 4 pages, front to back. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful work by Zach. You notice on the front, we've got another fisherman. This is Paige with a big old smallmouth. Paige is on the front of our card this month because she sent us a picture of a fish that she caught. So if you want to be on the front of this card, all you have to do is send us a picture of a fish that you caught. You can send it to us on Instagram, you can send it to us on Facebook, and guess what? Here in April, we're going to have a link for a fishing-oriented Discord chat group. This is for fishermen, by fishermen, bait makers, podcasters, kayak tournament anglers, bass tournament anglers, and big boats, all kinds of fishing, right? We're going to have tournament trails. We're going to have a bragging board. We're going to have everything fishing related just for you all, and we're all going to have a good time, be super social. Now let's dive into this card. You've got all the baits listed here as always. We've got our featured small business of the month, which is our good friend Drew Gregory and his Crescent Kayaks Shoalie. Scan the QR code, takes you right to the Crescent Shoalie. The Crescent Shoalie is the kayak that Zach and I are going to be using all year, this year, and for many years to come, right? It's a fantastic craft, and Zach and I have been doing our research for almost 2 years on every single kayak we can get our hands on. We have decided to go with the Crescent brand and the Shoalie model, and we're super excited to get in on this thing. We're going to be sponsoring the Kayak Adventure Series this year, and we're going to take our kayaks with us everywhere we go. So if you're going to any Kayak Adventure Series events, please come say hi to us. And if you're not registered or you're curious about Kayak Adventure Series, check out their website. It is just kayakadventureseries.com. They've got an Instagram also, and you can follow Drew Gregory on his Instagram to find out more information. He would love to talk to you about it, so don't be shy. Send him a DM if you're curious. So let's get to the back, right? We've got the bait shop and a QR code to save some money on all of our soft plastics throughout the entire website. Now, our bait shop, it's got a little bit of our values on the back, right? These baits are from American small businesses. We carefully curate this selection every single month, fair and honest pricing to you, the customer, superior customer service from myself, also Zach. We are available 24/7. And you can discover new baits and techniques just by, supporting us. If you go to our website and you see something you like, don't be afraid to buy it. We'll probably have a video on how to use it throughout our months of unboxings. Also, you got some QR codes here for the video itself. And then, like I said, the discount. So who is ready to look at some baits? Because we've got an absolute heater as bait number 1. So let's talk about the first bait, shall we? We're going to open it up with a crash and a bang because we've got another crankbait from Dark Corner Custom Crankbaits. This is the DC Evoke 2.0. 13 patterns, 6 in a matte finish, 7 in a gloss finish. And each and every one of these is just mounted fish grade beauty. Blake from Dark Corner knocked it out of the park again. He's one of our favorite painters, does a great job every single time, and you already know the deal. Size 4 vector trebles on each and every one of these crankbaits. That tornado treble does not let those fish go. Now let's get into the bait. This crankbait's one of the most universally just well-rounded crankbaits I've ever thrown in my life, right? You get a really good response from the bait with your rod tip. Up, middle level, down, side to side. However you like to fish crankbaits, this crankbait will work for you. Rod tip up, you get a really good waking action with this bait. You can honestly slow roll it and just boop, 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 make some waves with the bait. Rod tip down, it goes all the way down to 6 feet. Middle of the rod tip, you know, you're crashing into cover, you're trying to crash and bang, let it come out, you're in luck. This crankbait right here is almost entirely hollow. Other than the weight system in the bait, there's no rattles, there's none of those traps or segments you see in a lot of clear unpainted baits. And if you want to know what I'm talking about, check out Alternative Lures and look at some of his clear baits that he offers. This thing is very buoyant. It is meant to mimic the action and the buoyancy of a balsa bait, and it does a great job at it. You know, throwing it into cover, banging it off of rocks or stumps or any kind of riprap. When you hit that riprap and you stop that bait, it actually shimmies, kind of like this, and it floats right up. And that triggers a response from bass that just turns them into maniacs. A lot of that stop and go technique really gets a bass fired up, and they can move so fast so you get that big bite, that big aggressive bite. But on a steady retrieve, this bait's fantastic. I mean, it is a square bill, and it's a big square bill. This is the Evoke 2.0, the DC Evoke 2.0. The 2.0 actually stands for the depth of the bait, not the size. But the size of this bait is quite large. It's a very dense crankbait. It casts really well. Again, we've got 13 colors, and I'm super excited to see all the fish that you guys catch with it, because this thing's going to be a year-round banger for me. I'm going to be throwing multiple colors of this bait all year long. Any kind of shallow water situation, I'm taking that DC Evoke 2.0 with me. Next up, we've got a spinnerbait, and it's really, really nice looking. Let's give it up for the Biz Baits Compact Tandem Spinnerbait. We've got 8 different colors, 2 different sizes, 16 different variants. It's a spinnerbait, everybody. It is time to throw a spinnerbait. It is March. This is one of the best times to get a spinnerbait bite. We do have a matching trailer for you all, but we'll get to that last. But this bait is perfect for the springtime. It's a great smaller little profile. We've got 3/8.5 ounce as well. Fantastic little bait. Wire tied as always. Awesome colors. This is actually one of my favorite colors. This is a lavender shad. And it's just a really good, you know, little bit of a difference maker, right? Pressured water, instead of throwing straight chartreuse and white or a straight shad, throw a little purple in it. But this bait works really well. Burning it, slow rolling it. You can do a lot with this spinnerbait. It is not one of those technique specific spinnerbaits. It comes through cover super well. And Biz Baits is just another one of those phenomenal bait companies that has a wide range of products, but the spinnerbaits that he makes and the jigs that he makes, they really knock it out of the park. And again, we've got 8 colors on the website. So if you get something that you don't normally throw and you want to pick something out yourself, go take a look at the website. Take a look at the, you know, compact tandems. Take a look at that finesse flipping jig that we've got from Brian over at Biz Baits as well. Next up, we've got a 2-parter from one of our favorite bait companies that we started talking to last year, Crocagator Bait Company. You may have heard of them. You may have even received some of the baits in their box. We've got the Shakerhead Pro, and we've also got the 7¼ inch Cog Worm. So this Cog Worm is big, right? Cog stands for Crocagator, by the way. I just learned that today. This worm is large. Big shaky head profile, big Texas rig worm profile, you know, Carolina rig, however you want to throw it. The best thing about this bait is its versatility. And I'll show you how I will rig it on a shaky head. But first, I want to talk about this. This bait is so straight, and it's just so nearly the same shape, minus this little taper here towards the latter half of the bait. You can just cut this off, right? However you need to. Make this worm your own size. 7½ inches is, or 7¼ is a little scary for a worm, you know, especially in the springtime, right? And I know you all down south or where big worms are thrown probably are laughing, but hey, I'm usually around a 4 to 5 inch worm in the spring, but I can easily cut that worm down, right? And throw it on that shaky head. And this is how I'm going to throw this bait for a good part of the beginning of the year. Now, nice thing about this Cog Worm is once it gets later in the year, the water starts warming up, the fish start going deeper. You can throw this thing on like a 6/0 EWG vector hook or one of the 7/0 Magnum offset hooks that he offers and really get down there to those fish, generate that big bite. You know, big worms are great later in the year, and that's what we do here. We're giving you tools that not only work this time of year, but it transitions throughout the rest of the year and the years to come. This is not, you know, just the March box, and we want you all to understand and appreciate that we're just giving you tools to throw throughout the year. You know, I'm not going to take that spinnerbait and only throw it in March, and I'm definitely not going to take that crankbait and only throw it in March. And the same goes for this worm. And next up, we've got another worm for you, and we're going to talk more about that shaky head, right? We've got the Fresh Baits worm. This is the zombie blood color. Now, Fresh Baits is out of the Northeast, and this is a super unique style worm that has been done over and over again, right? Everybody knows what a stick worm is. It's a 5-inch stick worm, but the composition of their plastic, the chemical mix-up, the chemical mixture, whatever you want to say, this is a floating plastic. It is designed to be a lighter weight stick worm. A lot of your other companies, they load it up with salt, a denser plastic, and it sinks really, really fast. This bait is a fantastic, slow sinking bait. And I've got mine, you know, I will definitely throw it on that Shaker Pro, 100%. I'll definitely throw that on the Shaker Pro. But one thing I'm really excited to throw this worm for is dense cover, almost as a topwater bait, right? I'm going to take a 4/0 Vector EWG hook, and I'm not going to put any weight on it. And I'm going to make bomb casts, and I'm just going to twitch, 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 work it like a topwater stick bait, you know, left, right, left, right. I've tried it with this bait. I love a weightless stick worm on an EWG hook because that darting left to right action really fires up a bite. From right about now up until the end of the year, this is a fantastic bait fish shad presentation that just knocks them out of the park. I've caught a ton of big fish on these stick worms, and if you know anything about me, you know this is like my favorite bait to throw. And this, you know, these fresh baits I'm really excited for. I also really love the colors. The zombie blood is just it's, you know, it's translucent, but it shows like opaque at the top when the sun hits it right. And it just looks like a perfect bait fish presentation. He's got a couple of those that we sent out. We've got black and blue, we've got bone, 10W30, that's like a motor oil color. And then we've got the mint chocolate, which is like a green pumpkin watermelon, depending on the light. Super awesome colors. But let's talk about that preferred method of rigging a weightless Senko. Just again, left to right, on top, the head's coming up, and it sinks very slow. This bait does sink very slow, and depending on the hook you use, it'll sink even slower. I'm very excited to throw it on a Nico rig, very excited to throw it on a drop shot. Shoot, I'll even cut this thing in half, put it on a Ned rig. Again, that shaky head bite, it's gonna be huge come, you know, throughout the summer. My favorite time to throw a shaky head with just a stick worm on it is from like May all the way up until October. Once they start setting up on a little bit deeper water, I'll start throwing that shaky head. But for now, I'll pitch that thing into bushes, you know, and just work it like it's a regular Texas rig. But I could talk all day about a bunch of different ways to rig this stick worm, and I really think that the options are endless. You know, drop shot, wacky rig, Nico rig, you can throw it on a Carolina rig, Texas rig, of course, weighted without a weight. You can throw it on a free rig. Tons of options you can do on this worm and that cog worm that you got in your March box. Now, it's time for our last bait. And again, this is my favorite bait, like almost ever made. You know, I've got two of my favorite baits here, and I'm just, you know, I'm smitten, right? This was a last call by Zach and myself, and we really wanted to give somebody, you know, you all, a trailer for these spinnerbaits. This is the Bitters Naked Swimmer you all know and love. And we've got a few different colors of that Bitters Naked Swimmer to, you know, just to match the spinnerbait, but also you can use it as a standalone bait. Not only will this pair up perfectly on that spinnerbait, right? You see right there, pairs up super nice. Adds a little bit of that secondary action, bulks up that spinnerbait really good, allowing that big bite possibility. But this bait by itself, Texas rigged, thrown on a drop shot, throwing on a Jigmaster sled head, throwing on a ball head jig, or as a trailer, this bait will take you very far. This is my favorite trailer to throw for everything. And recently I got into flipping and pitching this bait just by itself, you know, 1/4 ounce, 5/16 weight, pitching it into cattails or pitching it past the cattails and just, you know, rolling it like a swim bait. But once I get to that structure, just drop it down, hop it a couple times and then reel it back. Most of my bites were coming on those hops. Once I stopped that bait and it went down into those cattails, once I hopped it out and right before I started to reel it in again, that's when I would get bit. And it's just fun to find those little universal moments in such a simple bait, right? Like between this, the Cog Worm and the fresh baits worm, you know, your stick worms, your shaky head worms, and your little swimmers, there's a lot of versatility that you can use that bait to accomplish getting a bite from a bass. And that is essentially something that just encapsulates us here at Dark Horse Tackle. We're giving you tools, we're giving you versatility, we're giving you everything at a really good price. The total value of this box was so close to $50. It was like $49.70 something cents. But we do this because we love you all and we want you all to just catch a bunch of fish because that's what we love doing. I'm super excited to go out and throw all these baits in here, you know, between the Bitters Naked Swimmer, the Cog Worm. I can't wait to cut this thing up and just fish different sizes. And I'm super excited for the summer to throw it on a big old hook and a big old weight, catch some big bass deep. But, you know, those crankbaits and that spinnerbait, this is one of the most perfect boxes assembled that you can take rivers, streams, creeks, ponds, lakes, reservoirs, canals. You can take it anywhere and you can catch bass. So, in conclusion, again, give us a like, give us a subscription. Let us know in the comments what you want to see out of this YouTube channel. We appreciate you all so much for your business and watching the things that we do and watching us grow. Thank you all so much. Make sure you follow Crescent Kayaks. I mean, just look at that sticker. It's Dark Horse Tackle. We fish. Have a good one, everybody.